Hey everybody, welcome to another Scooby-Doo related video, and this one was requested by you in the comment section to do sort of like a tier list for all the Scooby-Doo movies. And I've been meaning to do this for some time, ranking all my movies, and I just never got around to doing it. So now I have time to do. What I've done is I went on the tier maker website and I created my own template, which I will leave a link in the description so you guys can fill it out as well and submit your own rankings to the leaderboards. And basically, these are all the movies from 1987 to 2021. So that's about 45 movies, and it does include the live action as well as the animated movies as well. And I also included both the direct to videos and direct to TV movies because, even though there were four, they were still technically movies instead of TV specials. So the TV specials are not included, these are just movie related ones. So yeah, let's begin. So first what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose the easiest ones because, I'm going to know these ones straight away and you guys are going to agree. So there's really no debate about them. So the ranking system, let me explain this first. So we have S rank, which is super, like the best, nothing can top it. Then we've got the A rating where it's just below the S ranking, it's still a good movie, but there's still room for improvement. Good. And then there's B ranking, which is basically the neutral ground, so it's in the middle. You don't hate it too much, but you still love it, but you don't really fancy it that much, so it's in the balance, it's in the middle. So it's one of those movies you can come back to now and then and still enjoy it. The C ranking is mostly where the negative comes in, where you still think it's an alright movie, but there's still a lot of stuff wrong with it that they should have done to improve it. And then there's D ranking, and D ranking is basically, in my mind, no, go away. No one likes you. Okay, I just don't agree with you. So yeah, not a lot will go into this spot, but there are a few in my cases where I feel like, D's where it belongs. First off, let's start with Zombie Island. Now, we all know this is going in the S ranking, okay? You guys are probably thinking, why? And it's like, it's Zombie Island. It's pretty much the best Scooby-Doo movie of all time. Literally, there's nothing wrong with it. It is a gold star. It pretty much ran and hit records. It's the best. Then I thought, keep it traditional, I'll do the sequel, Witch's Ghost, which is the true sequel to Zombie Island and still has that supernatural element about it, and that is why it feels like it deserves the S ranking. Then we have Alien Invaders, so I'm going to put out the A ranking. Even though it is a true sequel to Witch's Ghost and all that, I still feel like there's still room for improvement. Yes, we have some good love scenes, like, heart moments with Shaggy and all that, but I feel like they could have done more. The ending wasn't really satisfying about it. It pretty much showed Shaggy heartbroken, and I feel like that movie has room for improvement. It's still good and it's still a fun movie to watch, but I feel like A is the best place for it. Now, now we have Cyber Chase. And Cyber Chase, it's not B, it's C ranking, okay? It's C ranking for me. Mainly because I don't think it should have been a movie. I feel like they were going for a series, but at the last minute decided to do a movie because they didn't want to do a Cyber Chase as a series. They would rather do it as a movie and focus on what suits Scooby-Doo. So for me, I'm putting Cyber Chase as the C ranking because there's still a lot more room for improvements. Like, if they ever redone it as a series, then I would definitely bump it up to the B ranking. But other than that, C is on neutral ground. Like, literally, it has so many bad tastes. Like, it definitely needs to be an episode series, not a movie. So it's C ranking. Okay, so now we've got the four original ones. I'm going to start mixing them and do on the TV special. So we now have Ghoul School. Now, Ghoul School, I love Ghoul School, but I don't want to feel like my emotions are taking control, okay? I don't want to put that as S ranking because that's just like, not true. I don't think it goes for an A ranking. It's really hard. Like, I'm thinking between B and A. Like, it's a good show, but I feel like they should have done more with it. So I'm going to put it as, oh god, it's really hard. Do I really want to put it as B? Because I might regret it later. I'm going to put it as B for now. I know it sounds mad, but it's in the neutral ground. I hate it and love some bits about it, but I feel like it's on neutral terms. Like it's a movie that you can come back to, and there's no hate about it. It's just one of those neutral films you can all agree with. And for me, putting it as B, it's like on solid ground. Then we have the Boo Brothers. Now, the Boo Brothers is again C. I know, it's mad. You're thinking, why am I doing this? Why am I putting Boo Brothers as C? Again, with Boo Brothers, it didn't really work that well. I just felt every time I watched it, there was so much more they could have done better with the actual movie. You know, it just felt really stupid how Shaggy would hire ghosts when he's terrified of ghosts, but then the movie itself just felt really short. It's like we're just like picking up on the episodes, and this is where they do on the summer break sort of thing. There's so many errors wrong with it. I just don't know where to begin. So for me, I'm putting it as C because it's not the worst film, but I feel that they could have improved it on some cases. Okay, next we have Reluctant Werewolf, and I'm putting that in solid mutual ground, and it's not really too much hate. Like, it's one of those neutral agreements. Same with Ghoul School, you can come back to it now and then, and you know, you don't want to throw it out there, like, try and put too much good onto it. Like, yes, there are some things that do need to be worked on, and some things do not make sense, but brings in a whole Scoob-verse sort of situation, but I'm putting it as B for neutral. Now we have Arabian Nights, and Arabian Nights is a D ranking. Yes, I know. Our first D ranking. It's not good. it's not. It's not the worst, but for me, as a movie element, it doesn't really get any other higher ranking, because if you watch Arabian Nights, you would know that it's not really feel that movie element. It feels more like a series special into a movie where you're just crossing over from certain key points with, you know, certain scenes and all that. So it doesn't really feel authentic, it doesn't really feel original, it just feels a mockery. So for me, I'm putting it as a D tier listing. Right, so now we got rid of the TV specials out of the way, and we got through like the 4 original movies that started all this off. It's time to go on a bit of some random pages. So let's start with Scooby-Doo and the Phantom Saw. It's a C ranking. It is. And this was in my top 10 worst Scooby-Doo movies list, and people didn't like how I chose this in my top 10 worst Scooby-Doo movies list. It's not good. It has so many like areas where it could be improved. Like, it just feels like you're watching a What to Do Scooby-Doo episode. You're really just taking an episode, making it into a movie, and the concept of a dinosaur gets reused so many times. Like, we've seen dinosaurs on TV all the time. I feel Scooby-Doo overused it, like in episodes, in a movie format. We get it, okay? You're good with dinosaurs, but come on, as a whole villain protege, like, it's not good at all. So I put it as C. Now we got on the Loch Ness Monster, which is definitely the same category as the Phantom Saw. No, it goes onto a D listing. I'm only joking, it's definitely C. Basically, it's in the same concept of the Phantom Saw. Been reused so many times. Pretty sure we did Underwater countless times in Scooby-Doo. Loch Ness Monster, not really original. Move on. Okay, now we've done a bit of that, let's go on to the live actions. Yeah, we'll spice up, do a bit of each and each, but yeah, let's start with the Daphne and Velma. It gets D ranking. I know, it's really weird. Why am I putting this as a D ranking tier list when I've always said before this movie, like, is good to a scent? Like, it definitely, if you know what they're doing with it, then you could see how a movie could do well. And the Scoop movie is gonna go into the B ranking. It doesn't get an A ranking because, gotta keep in mind, this isn't a true Scooby-Doo standalone movie. This is basically a upfold of all the other Scooby-Doo movies to come. It's got Blue Falcon, Dick Dastardly, so many other references to so many different shows, Captain Caveman. So they pretty much did this as a way to kickstart that Hanna-Barbera cinematic universe. And many people thought it was a bad Scooby-Doo movie because it didn't really feel like a Scooby-Doo movie. It wasn't meant to be a Scooby-Doo movie. The Scooby movie was meant to kickstart the Hanna-Barbera cinematic universes, so that, oh boy, we get to see standalone movies from all the others. Figure what Marvel did with all their Avenger movies and that, where we had Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, and then they all come together for Avengers. That's what Hanna-Barbera want to do. They want to do all these syndication new movies with Captain Caveman, the Flintstones, pretty much the Blue Falcon, and then do a Scooby-Doo standalone movie, and then come together for another crossover and do it like that. So Scooby movie gets a B movie because they were in the right ball place, but many people didn't really get that. That's really shameful, but hopefully they come back for more in new movies to come. Now we have the Scooby-Doo movie, and this is getting an S ranking. That's right, the first live action Scooby-Doo movie gets an S ranking because they pretty much nailed it. Like, literally, on the cast that they got to play the actual characters, they did a fantastic job, especially getting Matthew Lennard to play Shaggy. He really nailed that character because Shaggy is a really hard character to pull off, especially if you've seen the series. You know what to expect from a Shaggy and what to expect from him in real life, and he actually pulled it off on the actual way he walks, his posture, his body movement, to just all the key small details that Shaggy has, and he nailed it. And the whole story, what they done to it was pretty nice, bringing Scrappy-Doo into it, and so they really gave the fans what they want from a true live action. Monster Incorporated, the second Scooby-Doo movie, gets a A rating, even though it is good. Now, don't get me wrong, the CGI and the actual monsters were terrific. I feel like there's still a bit more room to improve. It's not an S ranking that's perfect, but there's still a lot of elements they could have done to explain certain things, like the whole way they bring the monsters alive. That was a nice touch, but then destroying them was very easy, and I'm thinking, you really ruined it. You could have done something a bit longer, and the montages and, like, you know, the build up to that final scene could have been a lot better. Okay, then we got Mystery Begins, and Mystery Begins is going to be as a C rating, and it's not really good as a prequel. It doesn't. It pretty much debunks a lot of theories and doesn't really make a lot of sense. If you watch the film, you would get that the gang never really started solving mysteries until they were on the road, and this really started in their backyard while they're at college and that, so, or school, wherever it was, and it doesn't really feel like a good origin because every movie that you have ahead of it doesn't really make a lot of sense. So yeah, if you watch Mystery Incorporated, like Scooby-Doo 2, you get a bit of a flashback to their childhood, and then they try to recreate it, and the Mystery Begins. Doesn't really work well. It's not their first mystery. The Dark Knight's their first movie. If they wanted to do a Origins, they should have done the Dark Knight as a movie, and that would have definitely been a throwback of nostalgia to definitely fans. That would definitely been in like an A rating. Now, the sequel to Mystery Begins, which is also a prequel sequel, as I like to call it, is gonna go as the B rating. Yep, that's right. It's gonna go as the B rating, Curse of Lake Monster, where it's a much better improvement to Mystery Begins and focus on an actual mystery outside of where they were, and does feel like they actually put some effort into it. So that's all the live actions I covered. Now we're going to go back bit some random ones. Let's do some Lego ones. Let's do the Haunted Hollywood movie, which is definitely gonna get a D ranking. I really didn't like them. They were pretty much just promoting, and same for the Birthday Beach Blur. That one's definitely going to get there as well. They just pretty much promote the Lego brand. That's all they were for. They didn't really focus on any, like, you know, keep continuations on Lego movies. Is only when they want to promote Lego sets and then include a Lego piece in the box set of the Hollywood one. And I really get how Legos are good, but don't try to promote it in a movie because it's just stupid. There's also a puppet one, which I'm going to clarify this one. This one definitely gets the D ranking list because that movie just sucked. It just did. Why in puppet format? Look, you watch it the first time, it's just cringe. That's what it was. It was cringe. And I'm not going to change my mind. You guys are probably thinking, oh, I'll give it a C ranking. No, it gets a D ranking. If you're going to do a crossover with the Muppets, then the Scooby-Doo Muppets would have made sense. Alright, Monster of Mexico. This is, I'm going to say B rating, you know? It's one of those mutual things you can agree with. Yeah, it's not the best movie, it's not the worst, but I feel like it's safe there, you know? It's not going to go too over my head. Then we have The Legend of the Vampire, which again is going to be on mutual ground. It's not the worst movie. Screw it, it's getting a C rating. I'm just like that. It's not the worst movie. Screw it, it's getting a C rating. I changed my mind. I literally just had flashbacks to the episode. The only good thing was the Hex Girls, and that's what's making me put it as a B rating. But if I ignored and cut out the Hex Girls, it's definitely a C rating. I'm sorry, it just is. There's something there saying, oh wow, it's definitely a B because it's got the hextales. I can't really think of it that way, but I think that, and then by God, this tier thing's pointless. Scooby-Doo and the Blue Falcon. A rating. Definitely gets an A for me. That movie was incredible. I love the Blue Falcon. Like literally the series, watching that as a kid were amazing, and seeing them cross over feels like the Batman crossovers. They just work really well, and I feel like when Scooby-Doo teams up with superheroes, it really catches on. You just feel that more comic book feel to it where anything's possible. So yeah, it gets an A rating. While we're on the subject of superheroes, Batman Brave and the Bold definitely gets an S rating. Definitely does. Nah, it gets an A rating. The same concept as Blue Falcon. It's nice that they crossed over with the superheroes, but I don't feel like they deserve anything more than an S rating. Like, they were crossovers. They weren't original to the course, unlike Zombie Island and Witch's Ghost. They were crossovers. They were great, and they deserved their A rating. Right, so let's move on to the wrestling movies, because I've been waiting ages to talk about these. Where do I want to put them? Okay, they're fun to watch, and they definitely do get like a B rating for the first one, WrestleMania. It was actually quite good. If you enjoy wrestling like I do, like I haven't watched in ages, but I really enjoy my like Attitude Era and that sort of thing, and I watched it up until 2015, and I haven't really watched it since. But if you enjoy wrestling, you're gonna enjoy this one. I feel like it's a neutral for people who enjoy that sort of concept, and I feel like they're not pushing it over too much. Yeah, they did a partnership, and it was a way for wrestling to show the world that they're more PG now and what they used to be, which is great. And I love how they did the crossover with Scooby-Doo, and they managed to get a sequel, Curse of the Speed Demon. I forgot the name of it then for a second. However, the Curse of the Speed Demon gets a C ranking, and it's weird. Why does it get a lower ranking? It's because of what they were going with. It felt more Fast and Furious rather than WrestleMania. That's what it looked like to me, and I was really confused about were they trying to put it in there as a reference, or were they trying to go for a Mario Kart theme? Who knows? But I just really thought, you know what, racing, wrestling, keep it in the ring, okay? Or keep it as a backstage brawl. Now let's do some musical movies. Why not? Because we all love them. Let's start with, not stage right, let's do Music of the Vampire. Now this is very weird. You gotta really think of this. Do you love your musicals? Now I love my musical movies because I feel that they're great. Grease is one of my most favourite movies to watch because the music songs in there, and when I watch Music of the Vampire, I do quite like the music in that. Okay, they do get some nice catchy tunes, especially at the start and at the end, but it gets a C rating because that's the whole time mystery with the vampire. It was just pretty much lame. It wasn't good. So Music of the Vampire fares the same as Legends of the Vampire. It had vampires. The only good thing about it was the musicals. Take that away, it's a C rating. And I don't feel like I could put it as a B because there's no mutual ground on it. Like, there's still a load of room to improve. Now, Stage Fright gets a B rating. It does. Okay, it does. It does. It's not A star. It's definitely not S star. But I feel like it deserves a B rating because it has that nice combination of the music, of the opera, that nice little like auditions that they went with, and that nice little mystery solving with the whole chemistry of the gang still putting off. They did a lot more better upstep than the Music of the Vampire did. They really pulled it off, especially the duet between Fred and Daphne, giving the fans what they've always wanted for a long time, was them two expressing their feelings for one another, and they definitely do it in this movie, especially with Daphne confessing her love for Fred, to Velma in their room. So yeah, I can definitely rate this as a movie that I would definitely like to see again and again, and it gets a B rating. But there's actually technically one more musical. Do you want to know what it is? It's actually Where's My Mummy? As a mystery solving, and for me personally, I feel it's definitely a B rating. I was going to go for an A then, but I was thinking, does it really deserve an A? Yeah, it does deserve an A. You want to know why it deserves an A? It just has a nice upbeat. Especially with the Tomb Raider, like a reference in that, where they tomb the raid, and the scenes where the guy brings out the machete so they're not going to be undead for long. And I'm thinking, man, yeah, the fucking machete! What the hell? So yeah, it gets an A rating. And people are going to decide, like, it's not too much of a musical. Oh, and I forgot about Kiss. So yeah, that's actually another musical, which I totally forgot about. So that's going to get a A rating, nah, it's going to get a B rating. Only because not many people know about Kiss, especially kids in this generation watching it. And so it really comes with those movies where if you don't know what Kiss is, you can still enjoy it. And if you do know what Kiss is, you can enjoy it even more. So if you're a Kiss fan, you can't really use it as an excuse to pop it any higher. You got to really think outside the way. If you take away your love for Kiss and then try and like figure out that way, you could see that this movie, the time it came out, was really focused at new generations where they might not even know about Kiss, and they can come out from a fresh new perspective. So I thought about that, and the movie does really show those kind of key elements with Kiss, with the new music and all that. And there was meant to be a Kiss sequel to this. Not a fan of Kiss. It's still going to be a mutual ground because you can still enjoy the mystery song when they incorporate it, especially with a nice hallucinated scene where they fight in galactic space, and that was a really good touch. So yeah, B rating for me. Shaggy Showdown. By God, I really did not like this movie, and it gets a D rating. Watched it and I was like, this is terrible. Like, it has so many bad things about it. Like, you showed another, like, a relative of Shaggy do a ghost about him, everyone's terrified about him. What was the whole point again? Like, you want to do a Wild Wild West theme and you did it like that? Want to do classic bandits from actual real life? Want to incorporate them? You could have gone that way. You had an opportunity to go down a history route, but you did it about a made-up story, and it's just like, why? So yeah, gets a D rating for me. Pirates Ahoy, which is going to be, it's really hard. I want to choose C rating or B rating. Do I really want to? This is a hard one for me. Like, I really want to put it in the middle of B and C. I do. For some strange reason, I feel like it's like it deserves to be in the middle spot. It's really hard to just pick like where do I want to place it between the two. I think I may have to put it as a C rating because even though it had the nice pirates concept and they were doing like a theme that year, I feel like it should have done a bit more better because if you watch the movie, you would see that some of the art concepts were pretty much stolen from Zombie Island, especially with the captain and that. If you compare the two, they look very similar, and that's why I just thought, you know what, they didn't even put time in making their own unique pirates. They just pretty much stole a concept that's already been done and thought that we wouldn't notice. And while keeping on the traditional summer theme, let's do Aloha Scooby-Doo, which, you know, with this one, I am going to put it as the B rating because they did a good job of making it a Hawaiian and trying to keep that a nice, authentic holiday feel to it. Like, they actually went on a trip, they actually made it original, they actually kept the monster good, they actually, you know, made everything perfect, and it worked well as a movie. There was no flaws. They didn't copy any concept from other movies. They really kept it as original as possible. And it was really annoying. They call Pirates Ahoy original movie. You pretty much stole the pirate scheme from Zombie Island. Chill Out Scooby-Doo is again, I'm gonna try and put it. I'm trying to really think about them. I'm gonna say it's a B. It's neutral. There's more neutrals here. Like, it doesn't deserve anything higher, but they gave it their best shot, and that's what counts. It's one of those movies you can come to, and you can all agree on that it's not the worst. It's still good, but it's not the worst. Okay, so we got Big Top Scooby-Doo in it. I'm trying to figure out where I want to put it on my list. It's definitely not S, it's definitely not A, definitely not B. I'm going to keep it as a C. I don't really feel like it deserves a D spot. D is for something that's just bad all in general, and it wasn't really original or anything, and definitely should have been reworked and redone. So Big Top Scooby gets a C listing for me because there's still a lot more about it. Like, I didn't really feel like I had to go back and watch it. I really felt like that was it. That was all I got. And so I just really twitched stopped from it, and I never really gone back to it. So he deserves a C spot. It doesn't deserve a neutral spot because I'm never going to come back to it. I feel like C is the perfect element for it. Scooby-Doo and the Goblin King. Now, if you know this movie and you look more into it, you would know that they pretty much use like inspiration from Zombie Island, Witch's Ghost, Alien Invaders, and Cyber Chase, and that is why it gets a nice B rating. No, it gets an A rating. It has all those nice elements of the fantasy world entwined, so it really works well, and I really loved it, especially good for a Halloween movie. Didn't we get put on a Halloween compilation, but it's a good Halloween movie. and it just has that nice little feel of all those four core movies into one, and they've really drawn inspiration from it. So that is why it gets an A rating, because they really tried with it, and it's been a long time to be actually seen somewhere that they actually done something like that. And another one is also Camp Scare, which is great, because Camp Scare has that nice, and it's getting an A rating, actually captures that dark tone, especially the opening. If you Google your slashers from Jason, Freddy, Scareface, and all that, you would know that good slasher movies really do well, and keeping it in Scooby-Doo in a dark tone gives us reference to the good old days with Zombie Island and Witch's Ghost. And that is why I have to put it as an A rating, because they really tried with this one. Yeah, they tried to keep it as PG as well, but they kept that nice, scary element in there, and that's why I really think it worked well best, because we had all them to work with. Okay, so we've got Abracadabra Doom, and I'm just going to put it as like a B rating, because this is a movie where I can come back to and still enjoy it. It's not that great enough to get an A rating or an S-star rating, but it's still a good movie to watch on neutral ground. There's nothing really too much you can hate about it and love it, but most of you lot can agree. We can all come together and watch it, because it is one of those nice little magical elements, and I thought they did it right with that one, and that's why I'm keeping it as a neutral as possible. Okay, then we've got a Samurai Sword, and I'm putting that as like a C rating. It had like, what, 3 scenes good about it? Other than that, I didn't really feel like it's neutral, but I had to keep it at somewhere, and I had to put it on a C rating. It didn't get D, but it got a C. So there's still room for improvement. Okay, now we've got Moon Monster Madness, and I'm actually putting this on the B listing, only because I feel like it deserves neutral on this one. It's one of those movies where it's out of their elements, it's in space. Yeah, okay, they've done it in a few Scooby-Doo episodes, in Monster Scooby-Doo and in Be Cool, so the concept's been done over and over again, but I feel like the movie really does justice, like, doing outer space, doing actual alien monsters. I think the first episode of Watching Scooby-Doo was an alien episode, but it wasn't outer space, so I could really rate how Monster Man has at least tried to go out of their comfort zone. So now I've got Frank and Creepy, and for this one I'm going to put as an A tier listing, because they tried really well, and they did a really good job of making it as creepy as possible, by also making it more freaky. And by this, what I mean is they really focused on the characters elements. So we really felt more connection between the gang, because we each saw them out of their comfort zone. Fred lost his van, he lost hope in the making of it. Daphne lost her looks and beauty and started becoming the one thing she fears the most, and she feels like insecure about it. Velma becomes crazy and pretty much becomes a mad doctor, and that's one of her greatest fears, because she always believes in science, and now she's gone mad like her ancestors did. Shaggy and Scooby lose their stomach. Basically, by that, they don't feel hungry anymore, and it was all a plot between 2 villains from their past trying to ruin them. And the best way to do that is to take away the things that make them whole. Okay, as we're coming up to the last 5, let's get through these. We have Scooby and the Gourmet Ghost. By God, this one could have been so good if they had Gordon Ramsay, but unfortunately Gordon Ramsay has an attitude problem with language, and it's not going to work well. But I'm going to put it as an A rating for me, because I still love the whole cooking aspects. Like, I used to be a chef, and I still love cooking, and seeing them get chefs together to actually be part of Scooby-Doo, like getting Bobby Flay involved, getting the whole concept down, doing a cooking show competition. I loved it a bit. So it really brought back some good memories from when I used to work as a chef, and I could totally relate to it, and I still watch it now. Like, it's one of those movies I can put on and I can still enjoy again and again without getting too bored about it. Scooby-Doo Curse of the 13th Ghost, which, if I wasn't really thinking hard, I would put it as a D listing. But as I'm thinking, like, more in my head, like, concept wise, I'll put it as a B. Yeah, okay, it didn't serve justice. Like, it didn't really serve the series any good, because it just debunked a lot of the original the series ideas. Because this is where it became a trend where Velma just became obsessed with debunking everything and proving that there are no such thing as supernatural. And that's what really annoyed me the most. If you take that out of the equation, it's still a good movie to watch. We still had that reunion, that they had with the cast. We had Flim Flam involved, and we just really got the band back together, what we really wanted to see. We saw the van, we saw the dress up with Velma, Fred not learning how to do a clutch, and then Daphne driving, taking control. It was a really good different scene. We haven't seen it in a long time, and it really made me re-watch 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo because of this movie. The ending sucked with Velma debunking it, but if you take that out of the equation, it's still a good movie. Happy Halloween, Scooby-Doo. Now, this one is a recent one, and this one was really good. Like, this I really loved, and I can put it as a true A ranking. I don't put it as an S ranking because it's like, it was only the third like continuation movie that they were working on, so I feel like it didn't really deserve the S ranking, but it definitely deserved A ranking. It did a terrific job bringing back the nice creepy element vibe to it, and also bringing one of Batman's nemesis into it, not one of his arch nemesis, but bringing one of his opponents into it, Scarecrow, and seeing the team up between them, because Scarecrow is a bad person, don't get me wrong, but in this one he actually gets justice. We find that the sheriff is actually the bad guy, and the sheriff, if you watch the Return to Zombie Island and 13 Ghosts of Scooby-Doo, he's been there, and they were going for this continuation movie plot idea, which actually worked because it made you watch all three movies to get a good sense about why he is what he is. So yeah, they did a terrific job on that one. Scooby-Doo Sword and the Scoob. B ranking. It's mutual for me. I feel like the whole name change really was a blowout, because Scooby-Doo in King Arthur's Court sounds better than the Sword and the Scoob, because they pretty much changed it in a way where you look at the front cover, it looks like Dungeons and Dragons, it looks pretty much like Sword Quest. It doesn't really feel King Arthur-y. It just really feels like they took concept from a game and a series, and they just really well worked with a board game and then really mashed it into one. And then when you watch the movie, you don't really get any of those elements. You get a bit of sense when they go to the dragon's like dungeon, but other than that, there's no really, solid ground to work with. Other than that, I really didn't see the point. Now we've got the last one, Return to Zombie Island. S ranking. S ranking, yeah, it's good. Hell no, it gets a D ranking because it's terrible, it's horrible, and we don't speak about this movie. By God, it makes me angry just looking at it. You pretty much had the greatest Scooby-Doo movie in the world, and you had an opportunity to make another in a sequel format, and what you've done is you pretty much turned the whole community sour and against you, because we just didn't like how you presented it. Because you made Velma this hated person, because she just debunks it. It's like, I want to throw this bottle at Velma's head and just tell her to shut up. Okay, stop ruining my childhood. That's what you've done that way. You ruined my childhood. And that is my tier list of all the Scooby-Doo movies, including the TV, direct-to-TVs and the direct-to-videos with the live actions. I think I did a fairly good job of doing all 45 titles. I think that's really good. It took me a while, but I worked with it and I got it down. And it's really good. I quite enjoyed that. I definitely do rate it. So yeah, I will leave the link in the description if you guys want to check this out and make your own. It was a good job that I actually made this, because there wasn't actually any good templates out there. I had to make my own because everyone I found didn't have the full movies title list, and I really wanted one that had all of them, and this one actually had all of them. So because I made it myself, I made sure I downloaded all the images and incorporated into it. But yeah, that is my tier list for Scooby-Doo, and I'm down to hear your thoughts about why I chose some of them. Some of them I tried to make good, honest opinions, what I would like and what other people, if I had people over, what they would also enjoy watching. So I tried to incorporate that as well. So I tried to be neutral on everything, and I feel like I did fair justice. There's not a lot of S rankings. There was only 3 in my part because I thought there'd be more. But no, there was only 3. I think that's very justice. There's a lot of B as well. I think I did good. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know in the comment section if you want me to do more Scooby-Doo stuff like this. Because I'm going to do more top 10s in the future. I have a lot more top 10s to work on. I have a lot more reviews I want to do as well. And you know, if there's any more on the tier listing that you want me to discuss, then let me know. I might do an episode one if you want me to do episode tier listings. Let me know that way, that sort of stuff. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed today's video, remember leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next awesome Scooby-Doo one. Sorry this is a bit long. I will try to edit it down and make it more appropriate for you all. But yeah, it is what it is, but I will try to cut it down as small as possible. But anyhow, see you next time.